Hey, what's up guys, and welcome to Sins of a Solar Empire. I'm currently playing the Trinity version of it, so I have Entrapment and Diplomacy as well as the default game, but I'll go into them in later episodes. So, let's get going. This game doesn't actually have a campaign to it, even though you do, if you don't skip the credits at the start, you do actually have an opening cutscene kind of thing, which basically gives you a story. So I think there's room for a campaign, but I don't think they're gonna do one, but there is room for it, and the storyline's there for it. So this game is actually a skirmish game. So you have custom maps here with the amount of players, stars and planets, and then you have a map designer. I don't really bother with this because there is so many, like if you go on to, this is my favourite one, balance of power. If you go on to here, there is so many different things you can do, it's just crazy. Anyway, we'll go back to him and damn it, I want to get off this. What should we do? What should we do? What should we do? Let's just go for that one. Okay, so here, first of all, this one's controlled by me, and these ones are all CPU pairs. This is just their tag or logo. I usually have that one, but you can change them around and customize them like mental, make them whatever you want. Here you have the different things. There are only 3, so you have to like mix and match a bit. This is the type of player they'll be. So you can have an aggressor, so they're always trying to attack you. A fortifier, which means they'll defend all the planets they have as much as they can. Researcher, which means they'll have a lot more upgrades than you, probably. Well, upgrades are their biggest intention of what they want to mainly do. And then you have economist. I'm not quite sure what economists actually do. They pretty much end up being the same as researchers. Yeah. But for this, I'll just make them all fortifiers, and here you can make them. I wouldn't recommend doing unfair till you're really good at the game, because it is really, really hard, and even I struggle on it. And I'll just put these down to easy just for the video. These are the game options, and again, I'm just putting everything to the highest it can just for this video. Pirates, I wouldn't recommend having them on, because even though they can be helpful, because you can put bounties on other factions, and the pirates will then go after their fractions, and then they'll be able to get your bounty that you've put on there on that faction. The pirates' AI isn't particularly strong compared to the other fractions' AI, so I wouldn't recommend switching on pirates. If you do switch on pirates, just leave them alone unless they attack your planet, if I'm completely honest. That's my opinion on them. So, here we have our 2 engineer bots. This is our basic ship factory, and this is our planet. So, first of all, the game is run on credits, metal and crystal. That you need those 3 for absolutely everything. So, you mainly get those from metal asteroids, and and I hope I have a crystal. Yes, I do. we'll put metal and crystal extractors on these asteroids to increase the amount of metal and crystal we have. Credits, they come in from either doing jobs, which these guys will give you, and I'll go into that a bit later in the video, or you mainly get them from the amount of people that you have on your planet. So the more people you have on your planet, the faster your income is. Usually that will always be higher than those two. Usually. So, what are these? These are buying and selling metal and crystal. You can do that here more on the black market, and then you have, here's pirates, but I have them disabled, and here's where you can put bounties on their heads, but I have them disabled, so I can't do that. The quick way of doing black market is just here.
Structure complete.
I'm gonna turn that down, that's loud. Where are you? Sound. So here you have your capital ships and your normal ships. So I can create one capital ship. So let's make a capital ship
Structure
factory.
complete.
And also let's make a military lab. And when I get enough crystal, I will make a civic research station. Come on, one more. Thank you. Okay, so you need as many of these two as you can possibly get, and you increase the amount of these you can get by increasing the amount of logistics slots
Structure
you can
complete.
handle, your planet can handle. All planets will have a limit to the amount of slots they can have. So basically once you've filled up those slots, then you have to find another planet to get more slots. And these, the reason you have to have as many of these as you can is because of the research. Now you'll see here that requires one military lab,
Structure complete.
and when you hover over these you get all the information down in the box here. So that requires one military lab. That though requires two, and it also requires that to have 2 levels of research on that. So if I click that now, once that bar across there is filled up, that will go to where it says there, level 1 out of 2. Once you've got those 2 levels, you can then proceed on to that one. But even if you have both the levels and enough money, enough metal and enough crystal, you won't be able to research that unless you have 2 military labs, same as everything else. I'm just going to cancel that quickly because I don't want to waste my resources. That's the military side of research. So that's where you unlock all your ships and you research to upgrade your health, armor, and type of ammo you use. Civilian is basically increasing how well you can basically harvest metal and crystal. If I'm honest, unless you're going for a long-term game, don't go further than about here, because these aren't really worth it unless you're going for a really long-term game.
Structure complete.
These guys are pretty damn important to get planetary shields. They're hard to get, but they're important to get. These here will just basically increase the world population, which will then bring in more credits. And these guys here are to increase the likelihood of all of this, which again I'll go into in a minute. Actually, I might as well go into it now. So, the diplomacy side of this game. When you'll get given missions here, and there will either be destroy ships, like structures, or they usually give them credits. When you get a mission, you'll bring up a little thing here which will say 30%, and then usually 15%. It's usually 13 and 15%. 30% is the amount this bar will go up. If you don't do the mission, 15% is the amount that will go down. But if you don't do the mission and you're at 0% with that fraction, then that 15% won't do any damage at all to the faction. So if I try and offer a ceasefire now, it will get declined because they don't trust me, they slightly hate me. And in a minute, it'll get declined. Yeah, it just got declined. There's sometimes a message comes up here of why they've declined it. I wouldn't recommend offering a ceasefire till at least 30 to 50%, and then peace treaty is 70 to 100%. Once you do 100%, they'll accept everything. These two, which is planetary vision and ship vision, so they can see all your ships and planets, and you can see all their ships and planets. I wouldn't recommend doing that unless you actually want to win the entire battle with them, because I usually end up getting an alliance with them, not giving them that, then building up a force, going to their home planet, and clicking go to war, and then destroying them and winning the whole game for myself. But that's just how I play. You might want to do it another way. So we're going to quickly make one of each of these, and we're also going to make one of these capital ships. So you see there, that did have a number 1 on it. That's now got a 0 on it because I have no slots available to make a capital ship. If I want to make more, I'd have to go down to fleet logistics in the research and upgrade this bar here to get more capital ships, and this bar here to get more normal frigates.
If it's out there,
these are massively worth doing, but you have to keep an eye on this, the upkeep. Really do keep an eye on this, because any ships you destroy, anything you capture, it all gets taxed by this percentage. Well, actually no, sorry, it all gets taxed by this percentage. So really keep an eye on that. Artifacts, I don't really bother with. I don't really see the point in them. If you get them, you get them. If you don't, you don't. I don't really go. I don't really go looking for them. Now you see here, one of my fighters is already pursuing this guy. The reason he's doing that is because if you go here down to tactics management, their engagement range is set on gravity well, which is basically this circle. And you see there, that's disappeared because that ship, I think, has done a phase jump down to that planet, which we won't go and follow. You can make that whole position, or you can make a local area which is about the size of that big-ish, I think. Now, the way, if you've seen this create fleet, the way you do that is if you go up to here and select all of them, you get a grey box around your fleet. You can then go back to tactics management and press create fleet, which then gives you these two as well. So if you select if you go here and then select an individual person of your fleet, you can make him leave the fleet, and now when you press that, he's no longer under command.
Point me in the right direction. Ready for
Press that, and then you press Shift to add him, and then go back to there and press create fleet, then he's back in. So if we press that, and then we'll press local area and all tight and bring them over here,
at once.
that is the set of the formation of how they'll form up. It doesn't really work well with these three ships, and you won't see much difference between all tight, all standard and all loose, because they're not a big enough fleet. When you get a fleet of say 50 to 100, that's when you'll start to see the effect of how that works. And then you can obviously have that, which is they'll just retreat, but I don't want them to do that.
Easily
So
done.
we'll bring them over here. That is, actually I'll just quickly show you these guys. If I can get onto him.
What do you need to know?
this little buddy is probably one of the fastest ships in the game. He's a scout ship, so you can send him to any planet and he'll receive information and stuff for it. Apart from that, he can't really do much. He doesn't really have any particular guns, and if he's getting attacked, I'd make him run away because he doesn't have that much health or shields. Again, you can upgrade him. Then,
where to, Commander?
once you found an empty planet, or you found a planet where there's a fraction small enough to destroy, you can then bring in this guy. This guy will then go to the main rock of that planet and colonize it with 50 to 100 people, which you can then again expand by going onto the planet and developing it.
Deploying.
Other than that, there you go. You can go to colonize on do that, and then you can colonize on a certain planet. You can only do it on like planets that haven't got anyone on. And that is about it, apart from capital ships. I didn't tell you about those. Bigger ships obviously in the game, and the more you can have of these the better, but don't overdo it. These, you can never have enough of these, if I'm honest. You can unlock more by going through all of this, which we will look into next episode. And where is it? There it is. The frigate factory, if you look at that. Cruisers here, you unlock them. I wouldn't recommend unlocking either of those. These two are the best. And with frigates, these two are the best here. But you're always going to need, to start off with, you're always going to need these three. But it depends how you play. Again, with these, if you do that, and then you make a ship, that ship will then come out and stop there to go to the rally point, and you can do that with all things. You can even do it with your planet. So, anyway, that's about it for me today. So, I'm Crimson, and I will see you next time.